It's the Tyler Werner Show on this, dare I say, maybe late summer afternoon. I guess you're not late afternoon, summerish kind of weather outside, if that made any sense whatsoever. So we got Phillies baseball continuing to be, interesting, more than we, maybe bargained for, maybe more than we expected so far. For the meantime, we got, of course, the 76ers, ladies and gentlemen, finally have acquired the number one pick in the NBA draft. As, of course, the ping pong balls went their way last week at the NBA draft lottery with the ping pong ball draft lottery, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if it's, some people, dare I say, dare I go this route, but there's that suspicion that, now that Sam Hinkie, who, of course, the NBA was having some beef with the whole tank process for the third year in a row. The NBA wanted to step in, and whether it be the Sixers being put under pressure to maybe, have Sam Hinkie resign or whatever, Brian Colangelo being the new general manager for the Sixers in place of Sam Hinkie. I don't know if it's, now things go. Now the Sixers finally get the number one ping pong ball in this whole tankathon that the Sixers have been doing the last few years. Now the Sixers get the number one overall pick. And as far as I'm concerned, I know the Sixers, they are, over the past few years, increasingly so, they have turned into a, I guess, quote-unquote, big man factory, if I could use that term. With all these big men that they got now, obviously Jahlil Okafor added into the mix last year, Joel Embiid, Dario Saric might be coming, or they might be drafting Ben Simmons. It sounds like, Brian Colangelo, it sounds like there's a good relationship being established there between Ben Simmons and the Sixers organization, and it sounds like that's where most people are. Well, it sounds like that's where the Sixers are going most likely. And, there's the crowd that kind of formulated over time that said, you know what? Brandon Ingram might be the better pick, actually. Ben Simmons might be a bust and yada yada. And to be honest with you, I think it's that crowd of people that kind of come out of nowhere, like, dare I say, with Carson Wentz, for instance. That just kind of formulate. They want to, I guess, get behind another guy rather than the overall skilled player like Ben Simmons. And quite frankly, a guy that is not going to come around as Brandon Ingram. There's other Brandon Ingrams that are going to come around, and it's not so often that a Ben Simmons is going to come around the NBA draft, which to me is just kind of why the Sixers just stick with Ben Simmons. You can get another Brandon Ingram obviously, but it's just this whole idea that, and it's same with NFL mock drafts and whatnot. Like, this guy, analysts or whoever, they want to get behind another guy to kind of make it seem like, see, I told you so. Like, I don't know. They just get behind a guy to make it seem like I guess to come off more intelligent, I guess. I don't know. That's just, that's where I stand on it. Ingram can be a solid player, obviously. But as far as the Sixers are concerned, Ben Simmons, best value. Just take him. You got the number one pick. You can find, you can find another, Brandon Ingram and any other draft. The thing is, too, the six people are also saying, the Sixers, they should trade Jahlil Okafor. They should deal this guy. Now that, they're going to draft Ben Simmons or whatever. Now that they've got the number 1 pick in the NBA draft. Now that they have so many big men. In person, I just feel like, just wait a second. I mean, Okafor, for instance, he's had 1 year under his belt. Some people make it out to be like he's not a great guy. I don't know. He's gotten in a little bit of trouble, and he hasn't gotten in any like major Johnny Manziel kind of trouble or anything like that. He's had a tad bit of trouble here and there. Nothing serious to get rid of him for by any means by any means, but I feel just they draft Ben Simmons and they see if, say, for instance, Joel Embiid can stay healthy this year. That's another thing. You trade Jahlil Okafor away. And what if Joel Embiid gets hurt again? It's just one of those things. Like, let's see how this year plays out. People are, I don't know. I feel like some people are like, all right, now trade this guy, and I think you need a little time for this team. I mean, they're getting the talent now. After this number 1 draft pick, and again, perhaps the addition of Dario Saric, and maybe a healthy presence of Joel Embiid. It could be I say maybe a healthy presence. And you see what you got. You got the talent there. And maybe you got to add another guy here and there, fill a position, because again, you got this heavy supply of big men, more than enough. And I say, play the next season out. No more tanking, but play this season out. See how things go with each guy, and then you deal who is most appropriate. You deal who you feel is, not only can you get the best fillers of position of need in return or whatever, or value for your squad, you get rid of essentially who you feel is most worth getting rid of. I mean, it's kind of simple, I think, here.
It's not rocket science, people.
I don't think we have to make it harder than it is, really. So that's where I stand. I mean, there's no rush yet to trade anybody. We know they have more big men than they need, but you got value nevertheless, and you can wait and see from your perspective, from your end, how all these guys pan out, at least this season, and project forward with these guys. That's I think the simplest way to do it. You don't have to trade anybody right this moment before the season begins. They're not going to win. There's no pressure after. Obviously no more tanking, but it's not like this team is going to go from bust to boom, if I could reverse that phrase a little bit. They're not going to go from this team that was horrible, even though they're going to have a greater influx of talent. They're not going to go from the bottom of the barrel in the NBA to suddenly a championship team with one season. That's not going to happen this season. So play it out with what they have, with what they will have after this draft. And then in the off season or by the trade deadline, you make the move or moves you need to make that are most appropriate to fill other positions on this team. And then next year and the year after that, you got a pretty darn good outlook, I think. So, all these, everyone out who's like trade Jahlil Okafor, whatever, just wait a second, wait and see how things pan out with who you got on the roster. And who you will have on the roster after the NBA draft, with which, again, I say you go with Ben Simmons. And again, value is what they will have. So that's where I stand on that. By the way, I mean, I can't be, obviously I'm not alone in this. I guess
I'm embarrassed.
It's kind of mind-boggling how the NBA playoffs are actually shaping out right now. That the conference finals, that many people, including myself, were kind of just like, all right, can we just do these series even these two series even have to happen? I mean, it's Cleveland and Golden State. I don't know. Do we even have to have these Eastern and Western Conference Finals? And now, what the heck? It looks like the Golden State Warriors find themselves down 2-1 against the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Cleveland Cavaliers are tied 2-2 with the Toronto Raptors. I mean,
what is going on back there?
It's a little mind-boggling. I mean, if there's any theory, I guess it's the Golden State Warriors might be wearing down a little bit after that very impressive regular season campaign. Yeah, I mean, they 4-1 over the Houston Rockets in the first round. I mean, anybody could have seen that coming. Many people thought a sweep, but okay, 4-1. Still took care of business. And then the Trailblazers, round 2, 4-1. But now, after Oklahoma City took down the Spurs 4-2, the Oklahoma City Thunder are up 2-1 against the Golden State Warriors. And all eyes will be glued to the TV, during tonight's game. 9 o'clock Eastern time, the Oklahoma City Thunder. By the time this gets posted, by the time this gets heard, that game may already be in the books. But we'll see how that game shapes up. But all I can say is, when it comes to the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, a series that many people, including myself, thought was going to be all Cavs, especially after the Cavs went up 2-0. Suddenly, it's tied 2-2, and Game 5 between those two teams is tomorrow night, Wednesday. So we'll see how these playoffs pan out. But I'm hoping that Golden State bounces back and Cleveland shapes up here, and that those two teams meet in the NBA Finals. Not just because I picked them, but because I feel like, and anybody can. Look, the best teams, whoever wins, wins. You win the series, and you deserve to be there. I got it. But story-wise, Golden State Warriors, who had the best regular season in NBA history, against LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Come on. That's the best story you could ask for. That's the best NBA final that you could ask for. And that's what I'm rooting for.
I agree.
But, the interest level in that series trumps any other combination of teams you could ask for this season in the entire NBA playoffs. So, I don't know. But, I'm pulling for both the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Golden State Warriors. It's that's pretty much where I stand there. Whether or not that happens remains to be seen. Of course, you go to the other sport with playoff action right now. the NHL. And ladies and gentlemen, here we go again. The Pittsburgh Penguins, who are red hot, find themselves down 3-2 against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Game 6 tonight between those two teams. We'll see what happens there. But I mean, Pittsburgh finding their backs against the wall here after, entering the playoffs clearly looking like a Stanley Cup favorite after beating the Washington Capitals 4-2. The kingpin in the entire NHL, basically, record-wise, by and far. And the Pittsburgh Penguins now find themselves down at the Tampa Bay Lightning, who they weren't necessarily the hottest team entering the playoffs, but now they're playing some pretty good hockey, and they could find themselves in the Stanley Cup Finals this year by beating the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight, or Game 7 Thursday if they don't do so tonight. So I mentioned it whenever I mentioned it not too long ago. But the Flyers, what got the Flyers going later in the season, en route to their run towards the playoffs, was back-to-back wins against the Tampa Bay Lightning, the first of which I saw live right before my eyes back in March, and taking care of business over the Tampa Bay Lightning. And look what's happened since then. The Tampa Bay Lightning could be in the Stanley Cup Finals. What do you know? Over in the Western Conference, San Jose last night winning 6-3 over the Blues. Some high scoring games. The Sharks lead that series 3-2. We'll see what happens there. Although the Sharks, they've been there before. They're always. It seems like they're always in the playoff mix. They haven't been in the Stanley Cup Finals as often as teams like the Kings and the Chicago Blackhawks, but they've been in the playoff mix a lot, obviously. And last couple of years, the Blues have been there recently as well. So we'll see what happens. But obviously, the big story is that Pittsburgh, their back is against the wall. Who for a while was the favorite, but they could very well be eliminated. An upset by the Tampa Bay Lightning. I'm going to call it an upset. I would, seeing as how things had been shaping up recently. So other than that, right now in the Philly sports world, obviously nothing too new right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. Just the same old, I guess, until training camp comes around. I don't know if there's going to be any, trades that happen, or we'll wait and see. I know there's been Darren Sproles trade rumors, and at this point, I don't know how much Darren Sproles has left. So then again, running back wise, we'll see how that position shapes up for the Eagles this year. But Phillies baseball continues. Right now, they're in a series with the Tigers, but they got some tough series coming up against the Cubs and the Nationals, so we'll see. It's again, obviously it's amazing how many one-run games this Phillies team has won, and sometimes in many cases, the fashion they've won it in. But this team, they don't have offense, and they're hanging on with their pitching, and I know they're overachieving. I know this team is not going to turn out as bad as we thought they would. Many people felt like this team is going to lose 100 games, and they're not this year. Maybe they're not going to lose 100 games, obviously, but you just wonder how long the pitching can not get worn down by lack of offense. I mean, the pitching is, been kind of carrying this Philadelphia Phillies team, and it's kind of bonus in a sense, but there's only so many one-run games you can win over losing then for so long that, eventually the law of averages has got to come into play somewhere, and they can't keep it up forever this season. So we'll see how things shape up. But nevertheless, I mean, who'd have thunk? At this point in the season, we're coming up a Memorial Day weekend. Who'd have thunk it? Speaking of Memorial Day weekend, everybody have a great Memorial Day weekend. Well, we'll catch up shortly here on the Tyler Werner Show. So we're moving into the summer territory, I guess you could say, weather-wise, heating up a little bit again, and coming up close in the month of June. Training camp, in time will come in July, and yada yada. But until then, we pretty much got NBA and NHL finals to look forward to coming up after these series wrap up in each conference and each sport. And Phillies baseball, continue to, watch closely, I guess. Thanks for tuning as always. By the way, of course, if I'm not mistaken, it looks like Tom Brady, ladies and gentlemen, is going to is definitely appealing his his suspension that is set for this season. Prize or anything, but just thought I'd I share that officially in case anyone hasn't seen. So we'll should be interesting to see how that shapes up as we move forward here through the summer, and it's like
the texture of the balls is
it's like we're right back where we were last year.
The pressure of the balls is
but that's not no surprise to me as to how Tom Brady is appealing that, and keep you informed on that as well. Because you know what, it's something that some people they just want to be over. But I feel Tom Brady has every right to fight the suspension. He doesn't deserve to be. I mean, I don't know. We don't. I guess for now we'll save it for the future. But just so everybody knows, it is continuing. Deflategate will roll on, and it's not over. So, but this edition of the Tyler Werner Show is over. So thanks for tuning in as always, and have yourself a great Memorial Day weekend. The champion of game day catering is the official meatball of the Tyler Werner Show, Brady and Belichick's slow-cooked Italian meatballs.
We prepare our balls over time, and that's the essence of the preparation.
On top of that, another trademark of Brady and Belichick's slow-cooked Italian meatballs is Brady's signature rubbing process.
When I pick balls out, to me, they're perfect. I don't want anyone touching the balls after that. I don't want anyone rubbing them. To me, those balls are perfect.
What is a concern is the texture of the balls, and again, that's the point that Tom hit on hard.
The champion of all game day catering dishes is Brady and Belichick's slow-cooked Italian meatballs, the official meatball of the Tyler Werner Show. Okay, Rocco, pretend I'm the girl that you want to ask out on a date.
How about maybe you and I, maybe we go out together, get something to eat, I don't know, maybe laugh a little bit, who knows, I don't know, would you like to maybe, you want me to go out together? What do you think? Would you like to?
You need to make more eye contact, and you sound way too nervous.
You want to hear me say it? You want to break me down? All right, I'm afraid. For the first time in my life, I'm afraid.
Having a tough time asking out ladies? You need to see Clubber Lang for a lesson.
Hey, woman. Hey, woman. I bet you stay up late every night dreaming you had a real man, don't you? I tell you what, bring your pretty little self over to my apartment tonight, and I'll show you a real man.
Build confidence with the ladies like never before with Clubber Lang's dating services. The most highly recommended in all of the Delaware Valley.
I am ranked number one. One! That means I'm the best.
I'll have some skirt steak, some brisket, little piece of that New York steak, a couple of them steak fingers, and a burger.
You've known for a long time that you were going to have to get real about fat or stay real fat. It didn't get that way by accident or by some outsider's doing.
Put some macaroni and cheese on there, too. Is there any chicken fried steak left?
Your weight just keeps creeping up or maybe even shooting sky high.
3 slices of pecan pie and 2 cups of coffee.
You have a decision to make. You know it, and so do I.
Yes, all right.
You need prescription diet pills or other diet aids to lose weight.